Every knife in this video is an absolute banger. There are multiple different companies' knives, and it's surprising that every single one of them are this damn good. Let's check out the first one, which is from KETUO Knives, and it is the Triad. I think this thing is such a good looking knife. What a gorgeous knife. I am such a sucker for a harpooned dual ground tanto. Absolutely. I actually have a couple designs with some because I love them that much. Now, this also, man, extremely lightweight because it's got carbon fiber over heavily milled titanium. This thing is so lightweight. But we have a harpooned M390 dual ground tanto, very thin in the hollow grind, beautiful sharpening choil and finger choil. It does act as both. You have a lot of jimping riding up the front of the blade, which is nice. And then, you know, the tip is going to be strong enough to where you're not going to have to worry about breaking it, but you have plenty of sliciness up there in the belly to cut down on flat surfaces. The handle, slightly contoured. It has like a little ridge line right here. You're not going to be able to see it, but there is. It's a little bit lower here, a little bit lower here, and a little bit higher here. Slightly contoured. Titanium liners, like I said. Titanium milled pocket clip. And then look at this back spacer. What a good looking back spacer. All that jimping with the ridge line down the center. I think it looks good. Extremely ergonomic. This is a very comfortable handle. Now this thing is rock solid lockup. I've already tested it, and yeah, very solid. The action, you would look at this flipper and say there's no way that's going to work good, but it works great. You just put your finger over the top and basically roll your finger down. You don't want to grab it right here because there's not enough traction, so you want to go over the top, but as long as you do that, it works great. Very good. Then you have the front flipper, which also works very well. You can do all the tricks with it. You can even roll it around. Then you have these gorgeous thumb studs that are very well placed, great size, great traction, and because of the thickness of the handle, you have a very comfortable grip when you're holding onto the knife to flick it. So you get a lot of power in that thumb stud action. Great thumb stud deployment. Same thing with the reverse flick on the thumb stud, and then you also have the hole. The whole deployment works just as good as all the rest of them. Every deployment on here works very well. And I'm surprised that the detent is tuned so good for all of these deployments. Now, like I said, the ergonomics are crazy good. So, you know, you're going to have a lot of control over this knife. Now, as far as negatives go, really quickly. Oh, and by the way, it is reversible because it's a button lock, so lefties, you are involved here. This is a very lefty friendly knife. You can reverse the clip. You can see the little window right there. Now, what are my negatives? One is the jimping on the front flipper. I wish it was a little bit sharper and it went all the way around. Yes, it works good. I don't, you know, it's not that big of a deal. It's definitely not a deal breaker whatsoever, but it would be nice. And always do this. Anybody who's thinking about doing a front flipper, always do the sharp jimping and always bring it up and around, because that corner right there, if you put your finger there, you're going to slip. So you have to go to the front, which is fine on this knife, but so many other knives have failed and are not good because of that reason. This one's good, but I wish it was a little bit sharper. This jimping back here is just fine. It'd be cool if it was sharper right there, then I'd be able to flick it a little bit easier right there. I can do it, but bring it over the top is the way to go. And regardless, it doesn't matter. It flips really well. That's barely even a nitpick. You know, I'm just, yeah, I wish the jimping, especially right here, was just a little bit sharper and went all the way up and around. This one's fine, but the next little nitpick, and this is very minute, very small, but the stop pin hits right here, which I don't think is very bad. It is a little bit in the thinner grind, in the hollow grind, but normally I want the stop pin nowhere near this area because I want to be able to cut in a finger choil if I want to. Now in this case, you have so much life to sharpen off before you'll ever, you know, take the steel away from the stop pin, that it doesn't really matter. By that point, you know, the knife will be done. It'll be ruined. It'll be, you know, you'll definitely get your money's worth out of it by that point. So I don't think in this case it's a big deal, but I prefer stop pins to be in different areas. Now, the last thing is T6s. I wish it was T8s all the way around. But other than that, man, This is a banger, absolute banger. Like I said, man, I'm a sucker for a harpoon dual ground Tonto. They did a good job on this one. Next is a new Bade Modern Designs Titan. This is surprisingly really, really good. I wasn't expecting it to be as good as it is for how small it is. Now, it has obviously a wicked looking Tonto. I don't think it, it's not a, it is a dual grind, but it's not a hollow and a flat. It's two flats, but a very, very slicey flat. It does come in, I think, 3 different versions. Actually, I'll let you guys read it. It does come in different versions, but here's a little bit of the details. But it does come, I think, with an orange titanium or another color. I forget what it is, a green, I think, or something. Now, it has a titanium handle, M390 blade, and and you can see the pivot windows or pivot collars. Back spacer is also anodized the same color to match. You have a hidden lanyard back here, titanium mill pocket clip, thumb stud action. The detent, first thing when I grabbed this thing and I opened it, I said, well, that was my fault. But as soon as I opened it, I said, wow, that has a good detent. I mean, it's just such a snappy, perfect jimping. The jimping I was wishing the other one had. Bang. The thumb studs, bang. They're so well placed, so grippy. It just, man, it works. So, listen to that, lock up. I'm not even a huge fan of small knives like this, but this thing is cool. And you actually can get a full 4-finger grip relatively comfortable. However, it's going to be more of an opener, where you kind of grip it like this, which is also very, very comfortable, and you're going to use a secondary tip to open things up. The primary tip is a little high, so yeah, you could use it maybe at an angle, or if you're going to open something up like this, but you're not going to do utility cuts with it. You're going to use the secondary tip, which is very pronounced. Man, that detent, man, the action's ridiculous. I'm sure it's on ceramic caged bearings. Now, as far as negatives go, because this thing's really, really cool. Oh yeah, by the way, this is a White Mountain Knives exclusive. I should have said that automatically. So if you want to check it out, just go to White Mountain Knives and it'll be there. I think it's White Mountain Knives. Yeah, White Mountain Knives, yes. So it's a White Mountain Knives exclusive, so that's where you can find it. Now, my negatives. My negatives are very minimal. One, it came with a bad edge. This edge is not good at all. It's very rough right here. It feels like they didn't remove the burr. Now, for me, that's not a big deal. I can just easily tune that up myself, but it's a very high edge angle, and like I said, they didn't remove the burr. It's very easy to feel that the burr is still there. Not sure. Yeah, it's not even gonna cut paper. Well, the front, barely. Yeah, it's not good. And it's a knife, so that's kind of a big deal, right? It's a knife. The secondary tip will still work, for utility cuts and stuff. But anyways, the next thing is the plunge grind. It's weird because it had all this room here. This plunge grind should have ended here. It starts here and it ends right by the edge. So, you can kind of see it if you look. You can kind of see the shadow where it ends, like right here. So I'd prefer the end of the plunge grind to end over here instead of right here, just so you have life to sharpen off. Is it that big of a deal? No, and I really don't think this one's going to cause much of a smile, just because, it's the same thickness as it moves up. So yeah, you might get a smile. Yeah, I can kind of feel it. You might get a smile. It's hard to say without sharpening it. The next thing is T6s. Just do T8s, even on a small knife like this. And then the last thing, the clip does have movement a little bit. The clip is cool. I mean, it works good in and out of the pocket. Let me just double check. The clip is smooth in and out of the pocket, but it just has one screw, and the inside fitment where it is placed, inside the handle, has a little bit of room. So it allows it to shift a little bit. Now let me tighten it really quick and see if that helps, because it might. Yeah, that helped. It definitely helped, but I can still move it. Not that big of a deal, I guess, because it's so minimal. It's very, very tiny, and I could crank down on it. Maybe even put a little dab of glue in there or something. But anyways, And then the only other little nitpick I would say is the jimping's a little bit slick. There's nothing, you shouldn't even put it there. It doesn't even belong anywhere. It looks cool, so maybe it's just for aesthetics, but it does absolutely nothing. Access to the lock bar is good. It is very smooth. It's very cool, very fidgety. I like it a lot. But you know, it's got a couple little negatives, not that big of a deal. Let's get to the next one. The next one is by KETO Knives. This is the HALT, the H-A-L-T by AT Knives, or ATK, Addicted to Knives. Now, this thing is wicked cool, man. He did a really good job. Bestech is the OEM, and it's MagnaCut steel. I'm waiting to find out what HRC it is. So hopefully I'll just put it on the screen, the HRC, but deep hollow ground, MagnaCut blade, very thin geometry, nice and slicey. The blade to handle ratio is just absolutely amazing. Look at how much blade that has for this handle. It is about 1:1, and this is a titanium bolster lock with this beautiful fat carbon fiber. That stuff is gorgeous looking. My goodness, is that gorgeous. Man, that thing is smooth. Titanium milled pocket clip and back spacer, and the hole deployment, super good, man. The thumb flick, it's weird because the thumb flick, the detent feels like 5 times stronger when I thumb flick it, and I mean that in a good way. The reverse flick, it's weird how it feels a little bit lighter. I wonder if I do it like this. And obviously you can do it left-handed. The clip is not reversible though. But it does come in multiple different colors, you know, if you don't like the purple. Yeah, the action's ridiculous. Yeah, wow, 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 wow. Something else that's really cool about this is the detent, how early it is. Look at how early this is. That is so early. So you can hold as high as you want on that lock bar and you're always past the detent. You never fumble with the detent with this thing. I love that. And the lock bar access, while it might be a little minimal, it works great. So I can't complain, you know. I usually like a little bit more, but in this case, it's comfortable. It works. Like I said, you can hold really high, which I always appreciate. I love that when a knife disengages like that. So good job to them on that detent placement. Ergonomics. I mean, you can just look at these ergos and say, yeah, that's going to be good ergos. This is a little bit pokey, but not like, it's not uncomfortable. It's not pokey. It's fine. My finger can land right on it. I could bear down on it. It's not going to bother me even a little bit. Pinch grips are going to be great for utility cuts, and this is a utility cutting blade. Because it has a straight edge, you're going to be able to slice all the way out to that tip. Because of this handle shape, you're going to easily be able to trap ropes and straps and cut backwards. As far as a user goes, this is going to excel in most things, especially with this super thin hollow grind. You know, MagnaCut's a very tough steel, so, you know, you have the toughness behind it to support this type of geometry, and the edge came really good right out of the box, you know, from Bestech. They did a good job on that. As far as nitpicks and negatives, one thing is the plunge grind and choil. You know, I wish it was backed up. Oh, by the way, these will be available in January for pre-order. I should have said that right off the bat. So just stay tuned, keep your eye out for it. But you can see the plunge grind does hit the edge. I wish that was backed up, or, you know, this was cut out, you know, just, you know, basically drilled out or cut out so that it's separated, basically. That's my biggest nitpick. The only other thing is the clip is a little short. It's, you know, anytime you do a clip this short, it's hard to create little tension. Now, it does slide in and out of the pocket just fine. I just wish it was a little bit longer. It's comfortable in the hand, so, you know, that's fine. But yeah, the only other thing, I mean, like, if you did a choil here, you could cut this all the way out right here and make a finger choil, you know, where it's like a half a choil here and then a half a choil here. But regardless, even if it was just like this, I think that this thing is an absolute banger. I would just, you know, change the plunge grind a little bit. Other than those things, man, this thing is money. money. Man, Addicted to Knives, man, you did a great job on this design. Best Tech, you did a phenomenal job executing it. I do hope that they're going to be running the Magna Cut at a good HRC. Hopefully I put it on the screen already. The next one is by KANSEPT, the KANSEPT Cosmos. This is a wicked cool design, and in the hand, this handle is, my goodness, comfortable. Like, you would look at it and be like, there's no way that's comfortable. Oh, yes it is. And you can choke up, you can turn it around and cut straps, utility cuts, because of the swell right here. This thing is going to shine in most tasks. The blade steel is 20 CV, so we have 20 CV blade steel with this beautiful stone washed finish. Nice jimping. It's a very cool looking modified sheep's foot style blade. Yeah, what a good looking blade. Then we have a titanium bolster lock. This one is obviously like the White Storm fat carbon fiber or whatever this stuff is called, but it, you know, comes in different versions. So this is just one version. Titanium milled pocket clip. And you know, you can see the design influence on the pocket clip. It looks pretty cool. Then we have a back spacer that looks like it is black titanium. So we have a lanyard pin back here, black titanium back spacer, and then the access to the lock bar is not bad. They did chamfer both edges really well. The flipper is well placed. You would think because it's so small again, but man, this thing is it works great. You just light switch it. I don't think you can you can kind of push button. You can kind of do like a half and in between push button, but the light switch is where it's at. And then you can see this thing is an absolute guillotine. Also, you can easily reverse flick it, like super easily. Because look at all the blade hanging out of the handle. You know, when you have that much blade, it's super easy to do. I bet I could even do it left-handed. Yeah, it's super easy. And you know, with the detent, with the flipper tab being up so high, the detent, you know, it doesn't really matter because look at all this. When I pull down, look at how far that blade goes, you know, without even having a detent. So I bet you, like just from here, I bet I could open it. Yeah. So once you add a detent and then put it up that high, yeah, it's snappy. Like I said, man, this jimping is very well placed, you know, for different cuts, and you know, the ergonomics are going to work in a lot of different grips. The utility cuts are going to be just absolutely outstanding. The slicing, the geometry is not super thin, but it's also not super thick. It's in that happy medium area, but it's different looking, but also a very useful design. Now, as far and also, yeah, you can, I guess your fingers can't be underneath, but you can get that whole edge down on a surface with this pinch grip like that. So as far as nitpicks goes, one thing is when it's open, this pokes out just a little bit right here. So it doesn't bother me in the hand. You know, I can force it to bother me, but just naturally holding it, it doesn't bother me. I do kind of wish they cut this back a little bit farther and open this up for you know, unlocking. However, it's not a bad disengagement. It's comfortable. It works good. I just prefer it. So is it that big of a deal? No, but this could be knocked down a little bit more. Same thing with the titanium right here. Both corners right here could just be knocked down. It doesn't bother me in the hand, but you know, it's just a little nitpick. T6s, I wish they were T8s. Again, you know, T6s, just do T8s. I know the T6s are smaller and this thing has very minimal hardware, but it would be cool. I like where they put the logo. Other than that, really, I can't really come up with anything else. This thing is really cool. I just want to tell you guys there is some new KORVIDs. They got some new colors, and this is the KORVID M Plus. So it's a little bit smaller than the XL one, you know, the massive one, but you know, a little bit bigger than the medium. It basically brings the action from the smaller one to a larger size. These things are very fidgety, phenomenal detents. You got thumb studs that you can reverse flick or thumb flick. You got the fuller. Then you also have a fantastic flipper. These are super ergonomic, very, very slicey. That's another thing, man. You know, you look at it and you're like, that can't be too useful. These things are very useful. You can cut down on a flat surface. Utility cuts are great. It's like a utility blade. Then this geometry of this very broad flat grind passes through materials very, very well. They're very fidgety. Yes, they are very wide, so you know you do have to like a nice wide knife, but you know they're unique, they're cool, and now they come in different colors or some new colors. And I'm not sure all the other colors that are available, but there are so many different options with the KORVID, from the little mini ones all the way up to the XL size ones. So lots and lots of options with the KANSEPT KORVID. Everything will be linked down in the description. Work hard, stay tough. Until next time, peace.